Hey, what's up guys? This is Guillermo Auto. I'm replacing a water pump on a 1998 Chevy Blazer. They're not too bad, just a little work. Probably takes about an hour and a half if you're in the driveway. Something you will need though is this fan clutch tool. I rented this from AutoZone for about 25 bucks, and then they give you your money back when you bring it back. So it's kind of essentially free, but it needs this. This is a 36 millimeter for the nut on the little fan clutch nut. And yep, so you need that, but everything else is just pretty basic. First, let's take off this top fan shroud. It's these three 10 millimeter bolts. Alright, so I took those out. And there's also two 10 millimeter bolts on each side that connects it to the lower shroud as well. Sorry, it's dark. But there's two on each side that are down there. They're not too bad to get to. And then once you got those out, you just lift this up. I lift these hoses up, and then I just kind of wiggle it out. Alright, so I got this out. Go ahead and set it aside for now. Just put it over here. Alright, so now we got that out the way, freed up a lot of room. I gotta get this fan off the water pump there. And I would not take the belt off until you get this off. So I'm gonna get my tools here. Basically, one goes on the nut, and then the other one I have goes on the water pump bolts, and it holds the water pump in place. And you could do this with the belt off, but I just keep the belt on just for more friction, so you know the nut comes off easier. And you go this way counterclockwise. So here's my tools. Go ahead and put this one on here. It goes over the bolts like that, and the theory is it'll hold it in place. And then you put them both on. Be careful though, because it slips off the water pump, so don't punch yourself in the face. Nothing like that. You just put them on, and then I just muscled it off. I didn't have to hit it really hard with nothing or anything. I just muscled it off.
Make another one later.
So I got the nut loose. And there's also other videos on YouTube on tricks to get this loose. Feel free to go look. I think there's a guy who hits it with like a hammer or something. Alright, so I'm going to go and pull this out. Okay, so once we got that off, I'm going to take these water pump pulley bolts off. I would also leave the belt on for this, and just until I get the bolts loose, because if not, then the water pump will just spin. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get these off. Like I said, I'm just gonna leave the belt on to help it keep it solid while I get the bolts. And then once I get those off, they're 13 millimeters, or I get them loose, then you can take the belt off. Alright, so now that I got a couple of them out and then loose, I'm just going to go ahead and compress this tensioner. It just takes a regular ratchet, go to the left, and it'll loosen the belt up. Just like that. Pull the belt off, and then I'll just finish getting the water pump pulley off. Alright, so I'm going to set this aside. Go and undo the rest of the bolts here. There's 4 of these.
Nice sea snake. And they're both the same color. And they're all green.
Alright, so I'm going to put these aside. 4 water pump bolts. Go ahead and take the pulley off. Okay. And now's a good time. What I do is I spin all my pulleys and make sure none of them are really noisy. This idler, it's really noisy. I doubt you could hear it, but it's real noisy. I'm gonna have to replace this. You know, if it's making a grinding noise or like a scratchy noise when they spin, they're supposed to be quiet. I mean, a little bit's nothing to worry about, but I mean, if it's bad, then I replace them. So I just check all my pulleys. This is actually brand new. I got a video on that AC compressor. It's good. The crank won't spin or nothing. I'm definitely replacing the idler. Alright, so next thing we got to do is take these hoses off. The big one down there, and then these 2 smaller ones. And then here's the bolts. There's 4 water pump bolts that go to the block. You see him down there? I'm just trying to show you a little bit. But yeah, so these ones, I'm gonna take off this idler so I can get to these hoses easier. Plus, I'm replacing it anyway, but I mean, they're not hard to take off and put back on. It's just one bolt, so you can take this off, you know, if it helps you get the hoses off, and just put it right back on when you want to. So we'll go ahead and get this off, and then I can get to these clamps easier. Just use some needle nose. Alright, just get these clamps, pull them up away from the bases. And these could be stubborn, you know, the hose could be like crusted on there. I use like a flathead to kind of break the seal, or like a pick. Alright, so let's pull this one up. And pull this one up. So like down here, I'm going to use this pick to just kind of break the seal. This is just a pick from Harbor Freight. They sit on the pipe so long they just kind of make a little, like a seal to it. But careful not to damage the hose and poke a hole through it or nothing. You don't want to get it together and then it'd be leaking. And you could also take it from the top too, that clamp from the other side, and just pull it off. Have like a straighter angle to pull it off. But I got this one off, and there's no holes in it or nothing, so that's good. Okay, I'm going to take these water pump bolts off. They're 14 millimeters. There's 4 of them, 2 on each side. Again, it's 14 millimeter. Go ahead and remove these. Don't drop your socket. Anyways, yeah, here's what the bolts look like. They're the same size on both sides, which is nice. And then down here, your lower hose. You might want to take this off before the bolts. So just grab some pliers and pull that clamp down. And then same thing. I'm just going to use something flat and just kind of break the seal up and pull it off. Alright, so and then get to these bolts. There's, like I said before, there's 2 bolts on each side. The ones that are easier to see are on top, and then there's ones directly underneath them too. So go ahead and get those off. Go and pull these out. Again, there's 4 bolts total, 2 on each side. Alright, and yeah, coolant will start to be coming out now when you loosen these bolts. The coolant comes out of the engine, so you probably have something to catch it underneath. Yeah, that's where the seals are. Let's go ahead and pull these out. Alright, and I took the pump out. It's over here. Here's my new one. I got off Rock Auto for like 30 bucks, and I bought the one that says it comes with gaskets. And yeah, this one's pretty old. You can tell it's all rusty and stuff. There are these gaskets. You got to clean these off. Use like a wire brush or whatever. You got a razor blade, just kind of scrape it or something. You got to make those surfaces nice and smooth. I got mine clean, and it was pretty tedious. I spent like 15 minutes, you know, just kind of slowly getting them nice and smooth. So then the gaskets will you know, go on there perfect. Here's gaskets. They're kind of fragile, so be careful with them. And I'm gonna put the side with the double holes facing the bottom, going down. Reason being because there's no room for it the other way. Alright, so I put my water pump in with my gaskets, and then I put my hose on, put my bolts in. Sorry to skip ahead like this, but I didn't think you'd want to sit there and watch me do it. Just remember to put your hoses on and put your clamps back on both sides. Get your bolts tight. Put your gaskets in. And I'm going to put my new idler pulley on. Here's my new idler. There's the part number. I got this from AutoZone. And this one's nice and quiet. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one on. Just switch this bolt over and this little back plate to it. Yeah, I'm just going to put those pieces on the new one. Like this. Alright, and then put this on. Okay. Put my idler bolt in. Alright, so that's nice and good. I'm going to put my water pump pulley back on. Put my bolts in. Go ahead and tighten these down. Alright, so I got my pulley nice and tight. I put my hose back on the lower. And I'm going to put this back on. And then just put the nut on. And then it just goes, you tighten it down. I'm going to tighten it down with this tool. And then also tighten it with it as much as I can. Alright, got that nice and tight. I'm going to put this upper fan shroud on. Remember, it goes underneath those hoses. Try not to mess with those hoses, like, flex them too much if you can. Alright, so now I'm going to put these 3 bolts back in, and then also the 2 bolts on each side. Run those in. Just like that. Run these down. And yeah, guys, feel free to go look at other YouTube videos doing this water pump too to fill in any gaps I might have missed. I don't want you to miss anything. Make sure all your bolts are tight, especially when it comes to the water pump to the block. So run these down. Alright, so I got my fan shroud on. I'm going to put my belt back on. I went and ran it. And then also, I leave the belt off the water pump pulley. I put it all on the other ones, and I leave it off that one, and then I tighten it, and then you just pop it up right there on the water pump. It seems to be the easiest way for me. So yeah, I got this, got my belt on, got everything tight. Now I got to put some coolant in the engine, right here. And when I have coolant in it, I usually turn the heater on in the car and let it run for like 10 minutes with the cap off. Here's the coolant. I just got this from AutoZone. It's just pre-diluted. Dex Cool. I use Dex Cool on GM if it calls for it. But yep, I'm gonna put this in and then I'm gonna run it. So that's it. Hope it helps you guys out.